Alright, here we go, guys and girls. Today we are talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about ordering fractions from greatest to least or least to greatest. And so we're going to use this picture to help us. Both of these circles are divided into the same amount of parts. They both have 4 as their denominator. And each of these parts are the same size, okay, basically. So we have 2 circles and 2 different fractions. So this one is 1/4 because one of the 4 pieces is shaded in. And this one is 1, 2, 3/4 because 3 of the pieces are shaded in. And so when we're ordering fractions, putting them in order from, say, let's say least to greatest, the pictures help us to identify, visualize what fraction would come first. So this fraction, this picture, has less shaded in, and so it is a smaller amount, a smaller fraction. This fraction with the 3 parts shaded in is a greater amount because more are shaded. So for this lesson, all of the denominators, okay, whatever they are, they're going to be the same. So for this lesson, we're ordering fractions with the same denominator. So it's fairly simple. It's basically just putting numbers, like putting numerators in order from least to greatest or greatest to least, whatever you're asked to do. Okay, so remember that. That's the trick to this. If the denominators are all the same, then all we're worried about are the numerators and putting them in order. So we would say that 1/4 is less than 3/4. Okay, another quick one. So we have these 2 pictures. Again, they're both the same amount of pieces. So this one is 6 as the denominator. This one is 6 as the denominator. Okay. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces shaded in, and this one has 3. So these are our 2 fractions. Remember, the denominators are the same. And so we're ordering these. So which one is showing us less? Well, 1, 2, 3. 3 is less than 5. So 3/6 is less than 5/6. So this is a quick little exercise that you'll see something like this in your books, okay? So we are determining the greater fraction. Which one of these pairs is greater? So let's look at 2/5 and 4/5. Which one is greater? Well, 4 is a greater number than 2. So this is the greater fraction. So basically it's telling us that if this were a circle and we divided it into 5, 4 of those pieces would be shaded in, as opposed to 2 of the pieces shaded in on this circle. So 4/5 is greater than 2/5. Let's look at this one. 6/10, or 6/10, and 9/10. Well, 9 is greater than 6. So this is the greater fraction. 9/10 is greater than 6/10. 3/4 over 2/4. So 3/4 over 2/4. 3 is greater than 2. So we would do that. And this one here, 37/58 or 27/58. Okay, remember, the denominators are the same, so we don't even have to even really look at them anymore. We look at our numerators, and 37 is greater than 27. So 37/58 is greater than 27/58. Just realized my hair was like a mess. Anyway, this is another type of example that you'll find in the book, and where you have a number missing. So again, we have the same denominators, so we just look at our numerators. And it's going to ask us, 6/10 is greater than what over 10? So if you have 6, what numbers is 6 greater than? Well, there's a few you could pick from. So you could pick 2, and this would be correct. I'm going to change my color marker. You could pick 2. So 6/10 is greater than 2/10, and we're correct. Let's look at 2/6. 2/6 is less than, greater than, less than. Remember that the mouth, the little Pac-Man guy, his mouth is opening to the greater number. So 2/6 is less than what over 6? Well, what numbers are greater than 2? Well, let's go with 5. 2/6 is less than 5/6. Let's look at this one. 5 tenths is greater than what over 10? Well, 5 is greater than 4, so 5 tenths is greater than 4 tenths. And how about this one? 14 100ths is less than what over 100? Well, you could pick any number between 14 to 99 and you'd be correct, so let's go 83. 14 over 100 is less than 83 over 100. Okay, now how did I get these numerators? Like why 5 or why not 8? Well, any numerator cannot be greater than the denominator. Okay, so if you have a numerator that's greater than the denominator, that's called an improper fraction. We'll get there eventually, but not today. So how do I know what number could I pick here? Well, I can pick any number up to 100, well, up to 99, 100, or even 100. 100 over 100 would mean that it's one whole. But you can pick any number as long as it's greater than 14. Okay? So remember, the numerator cannot be greater than the denominator. So you're asked to order these fractions from greatest to least. How did you go about doing that? There's a bunch of fractions. Now remember, we're talking about fractions that all have the same denominator. Okay, so it's as easy as putting the numerators in order from greatest to least. So basically, if you can count, you can do this. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We just did it. That's how easy that is. As long as you can count, you can order these fractions. Now, the next thing that you're going to be looking at in your book as well is picking a fraction that is between two other fractions. So let's start with 2 over 6 and 5 over 6. And you have to put a fraction in between that is in between those two fractions. So number one, first off, the denominator is 6, because we're talking about fractions that all have the same denominator. So then it's just a matter of picking a number between 2 and 5. You only have 2 that you can pick from. So let's go with 3. So 3 over 6 is a fraction between these two fractions. Let's try another quick one. We'll make the denominator a little bigger. Let's go 10, and we'll go 4 tenths and 9 tenths. Okay, denominators are the same. We're picking a number now between 4 and 9. Okay, so our denominator is going to be 10. So a fraction that's between these two would be, let's go with 7. 4 is between 7 and 9. And so 7 tenths is in between those two fractions. Let's do one more. Let's do 103 over 2,000 and 504 over 2,000. Okay. Let's pick a fraction between these two. Why are the numbers so big? I have no idea. I just did this in my brain right as we did it. But remember, we know our denominator is going to be 2,000. And we know our numerator will be between 103 and 504. You have a ton of numbers to pick from. Let's go 207. Correct. 207 over 2,000 is between these two fractions. So this is not complicated because basically all we're doing is ordering numbers because our denominators are all the same. This is as simple as just lining up and counting numbers from greatest to least or least to greatest, depending on what you're asked in the question to do. So the trick here is to remember to pay attention to what the question asks and don't rush. Rushing is probably going to be the only thing that's going to cause you to make a mistake on this. So go ahead. The assignments are in Google Classroom as far as what do you need to do in your workbook. And if you don't have your .2 workbooks, 4.2 or 5.2, you got to really try to make sure we get those. So all these assignments, all these pages are in 5.2 or 4.2. And There'll probably be a few pages, PDF files that have assignments to do just to keep practicing this stuff. So we're going to review this for a little while. I'm not going to move on too fast into some other stuff. I want to keep reviewing equivalent fractions, comparing fractions, and ordering fractions. And then we're going to get into some other things that gets not really more difficult, but you just have to know this background stuff first before you jump into the deep end of the pool, the fraction pool. And you guys are going to do great. You're all doing great online, and our chat today was fun. We're going to do another one soon. So I hope we'll see you guys soon. Have a great weekend. Yeah, have a great weekend. Really, it's going to be great. Good weekend. Don't go anywhere. The fraction pool.